Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's Monday Motivation. I am going to be covering a really passionate topic this week, something that's really close to my heart, and I'm sure actually will be close to yours, and you'll see why when I talk about the subject. So, this is about motivating yourself to motivate yourself. Now, contrary to popular belief, you might believe that you listen to these Monday motivations, whether you listen to them live or on the replay or sometime in the week when you get the chance to catch up, or whether a friend's even shared this with you and you've gone, oh, this is interesting. It's not me that motivates you, it in fact is you. And on this morning's, I was going to say this morning's topic, but on this morning's video, this morning's live, I'm going to be talking about why this happens and how you can get the best out of yourself to motivate yourself. I hope when I've explained this, it will all make sense. So, thank you for hopping on, to those of you that do hop on live. For those of you that like to watch in the background, you're perfectly welcome to do so. And if you want to contribute, ask a question, make a comment, make a statement, by all means, all you need to do is just type in the box below, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. So let me just start by explaining why I do these early on a Monday. These used to be at 7 a.m, now it's 7:30 in the UK, and a bit later for my US viewers. And for those of you who are over in Australia and New Zealand who watch these, you're in my future. It's Monday afternoon and you've had your day already. So, hey Ivona, thank you for coming on and saying hi. So, what's this all about? Why am I talking about this topic? Sometimes it's really frustrating as a person walking the planet. There's something that you want to do, and yet there's something that stops you. And a lot of coaches, despite whatever specialism you're in, whatever area of expertise you're in, will help a majority of their clients who feel stuck in an area. Let me give you an example that she's on live. So the lovely Ivona here is a relationship coach. The area that she specialises in is helping you to get relationship ready. And whilst what she does is helpful for anyone, male, female, of any age, where she specifically adds value and where you tell her and other people that, oh my gosh, she was amazing, are for those women who are kind of 50 plus, having to navigate the online world of dating, especially at the moment, or, having been in a stable relationship for a long time, or for some of them, having felt like every time they meet somebody it feels different, and then they look back and they think you're the same as the person before and I didn't want this, So why am I explaining that? I thought, well, I'd give that as an example of something that Ivona does, okay? And Ivona, like many of the people that I often get to work with, they're multi-talented. They're not a one-trick pony. They have a specialism or an area, but they're good at many things, and actually they bring all of that into what they do, which is what makes them so juicy and yummy to work with. So here's one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today when we were talking about your motivation to motivate. So the first thing is, that's quite all right, Ivona, totally worth it, 100%. One of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to motivating, especially self-motivation, is this. Whilst what I might say has a resonance with you, the reason why it's motivating or even inspiring to you is because there's a part of you that already has it. And this is something that if you are into personal development or coaching, this is something that is known as our values, okay? And our values, in normal everyday speak, are the things that we hold dear to our hearts. They're like the habits, the behaviours. Hey Alan, morning. They're like the they're the habits, they're the things that we hold dear. And because they are our values, when we see it in somebody else, it kind of re-resonates in us. Now, the reason that I'm kind of like setting out the context in this way is because at the moment, at the time of recording this, you don't need to be reminded that we're in a global pandemic. But I'm saying that because at some stage, somebody's going to be watching this and they'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that last year or a couple of years ago or whatever when that happened. That was a strange time. But I mention the values piece and why it's so important, because it's important in what we get done, how we get it done, and how we move forward. And here's how. So many of us are living our life online, whether we're a business owner actually or not. We're having to educate children online, we're getting our fitness online, we're getting more of our information online. And for many of you out there, that includes the news, daily updates. Yes, some of you are listening to the radio, but majority of us are now being asked to go online to get our information. And, you know, given that I'm a coach that does specialise in helping people to put themselves out there and stand out and to feel confident and authentic in doing it. I mean, hey ho, I'm recording this from my kitchen. I've spruced it up and got my lovely Lily behind me, but I'm recording this from my kitchen. I'm not pretending to be in a studio. I'm not trying to convey some sort of, some sort of pretend persona. I'm not coming at you and speaking like this because a video coach has told me that I need to be animated. I'm not doing any of that. I'm simply coming to you as myself, you know, in my kitchen, giving a message that I hope will help. You know, today's message should have been all about the motivation to run a marathon, because yesterday was the original day that the London Marathon would have taken place. And I was also going to be prepared to be kind of sat here aching and tired and everything else. Now, that didn't happen then. Hopefully it'll happen in October, who knows. But one of the things that I see when I work with people in this specialism that I've got to help you stand out, and to be honest, yes, I can do that with everyone from anywhere, but there's certain people that I choose to do it with because of this piece, our values, what I hold dear, what they hold dear. So one of the things that's coming up for a lot of people is something I'm going to nickname visophobia. I couldn't think of any other way to put it in a language that would make sense. So what is visophobia? Well, there's a certain amount of visibility that we will need to do in our everyday, day-to-day lives. So taking Ivona's work as an example, when you decide that, you know what, it's time for me to meet somebody new, you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there because you're starting to look to see who's out there. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Could you trust them? Could you have a relationship with them? Could you even sit over a cup of coffee with them? And a lot of those decisions that we make are based on our values, what we hold dear, why we would do it, and so on and so forth. So one of the comments that I'm hearing, because one of the ways we can access our online information is news, quite often in my work, people will say to me, oh, I've just got to come off social media, it's too much. Or they'll say, there's so much negativity on social media, I can't be doing with it. And you know, that to some extent could be true. With everything, there's good and bad. But I want to ask you a question. Are you willing to use your social media platforms as a force for good? Because here's the thing, when we look out there and we see some of the negativity, which doesn't just have to be on social media, can be in our everyday lives, can be on the radio, can be on TV, can be down our street, can be in our household. When we see that, we actually have a choice in any given moment to be a force for good or to contribute to the noise. So I've been very, very privileged and lucky enough it feels lucky but very privileged to be working with some new clients in just the last couple of weeks. Given that there's this kind of global panic and everything that's going on, and even listening to where they are and where they want to be unstuck from, visophobia, I think, is a thing. And it's put in place with good reason. It's almost like a phobia of being visible. And this is even from people who are used to putting themselves out there, who have become accustomed to either marketing themselves online or even just putting out a message online, encouraging people to be part of something online. And just have a look. Yeah, make social media work for you, not against you. Absolutely. And I get that sometimes it can feel overwhelming and people will want to retreat back from it. It feels too much, it feels too busy. One of the things I will say, especially to my community of vibers and people who do have a business, especially in this time, I would invite you not to wait and plan until after this is over, post-pandemic or after this is over. I'd invite you not only to work on or plan how you want to reach your people now, but I'd actually invite you to step up and be doing it now. Because if you think about this, if you have a business where you are able to help people and they are seeing the same negativity that you might be seeing online too, and you want to be part of the solution, many of the people that I work with will tell me, I'm really passionate about this, or I really, I want to make a difference in the world. I really feel that my thing can change the world. Can't be changed from a place of everything is on a level and feeling great and hunky-dory, and that's where I'm going to go and then start and do my work. In fact, when you see this, it gives you the perfect opportunity to see where people really are. It might be your area of specialism, it might not be. If it's not your area of specialism, then by all means contribute what you can or observe and make a contribution. Let me give you an example. I'm on LinkedIn and I saw a post yesterday from somebody quite senior within a company that was talking about how there'd been some negative, not negative press per se, but negative comments about something that the company they worked for had been doing to help in this COVID-19 state. They had put their hand up and done something amazing, very quick turnaround, and they wanted to thank their staff. And very quickly underneath, somebody came on, and I genuinely don't think that they intended this message to come across quite as negatively as it did. But rather than acknowledging the ground that they'd made, they started to voice some opinion about, well, it can't be a very great company if the people at the top decided to do this and didn't think through that it could be something or it might not be. It kind of hijacked the conversation, and then people started, wading in as they do on social media. I'll take a sip of my mint tea. What I found was really interesting is the comment kind of irked me. It did irk me, I'm not going to lie. And I just thought, if you've got an issue, why can't you just reach out to the person that made the post and take it up with them? Because it's not really contributing anything to them, but they probably thought it was. And the whole kind of nucleus of this, which of course, we've got limited time here. It's a few minutes every Monday. I can't go into the depths of it, but the short kind of like one-liner sentence to this is, we hold different values. It could be like, one of mine is definitely authenticity, honesty. I don't like to use a term that I heard somebody use recently, those entrepreneurs out there, the people that will purport to be one thing and live a very different life out online, on social media, the Porsches, the nice houses, I speak with the leading people of the world. People that normally speak and do this with their hand have been taught how to do this. This is not a natural, body language gesture. So anyone that's doing that, I'm not saying that they're an entrepreneur, but I'm saying anyone that does things like that and makes these statements have been taught to do that. End of story. Think about it, do it yourself. Speak and say something and do that, and you'll start to feel in yourself how unnatural it is. Doing that, on the other hand, feels very natural, which is where that came from. Don't point at your audience, pull your finger in and do that because it will look rude. Okay, point in case. When I read the guy who made the comment on LinkedIn, I just thought, surely you can't mean that. So I voiced this because in my in my bid to live my life online as I would do offline, if I disagree with something, I'm going to say I don't agree with it. You might not like that, but that is my truth and who I am. It also means that you can stand in the truth of who you are, because if what I'm saying has any value to it and resonates with you in some way, then you will take on that message. You might not like everything I say, you might like some things I say. So what I did on the post where, because the guy had now done this publicly, I thought, well, I'm going to respond publicly. So I went back and I just said, great post to the person that made the post. And I said, but I was irked by the comments of, and I tagged the person in so they could see it, and said, and here's why. And I told a very brief and true story, and left it at that. And I made my point right at the end by putting a sentence. Now, why did I do that? I did it because of the values that I hold dear. I've never been good, even as a child, at seeing something play out and just ignoring it. You know, some people are like, oh gosh, they're getting into something, or I'm keeping out of it. You know, a friend said to me recently, I sent them something to have a look at that I'd seen online, and they said, I'm not going to put any energy into that. And that's fair enough, that's the choice that they make. And sometimes, if you are a person who helps people to get unstuck, there'll be places where it's not about putting your energy into it, it's about giving them a different perspective, showing them there's another way, leading by example, but not when the waters are all smooth and calm and everything else, when things are choppy and turbulent. So, circling back around, I spoke about Ivona, the relationship coach, and what she does for people. So I want to invite you this week to come out of visophobia. Even if it feels difficult, uncomfortable, yes, these are unprecedented times, and you will see things online that make you gasp, and some of those things won't be your conversations to have, won't be the track for you to go down, and some of those things you will be able to add something to that conversation. So one way in which you can do it is this week we're going to kind of ramp up the engine in the Discover Your Video Visibility group, or in short, Video Visibility for Confidence on Camera, which has been a signature program of mine for 9 years. So confidence on camera is all about video, and you've been able to put yourself out there in a way. Now, if you're already confident on camera and have already been putting out your videos, you'll find, and I certainly did in the start, that when you are talking about talking about the thing that you do on video, you will want to invite people to take the next step with you in some way. You might want to be able to sell yourself, as in sell your credibility, sell the importance of what you do, or ask them to go into the next stage of the thing that you do. So if you are Ivona, I know Ivona is really gorgeous on video and has a smile that lights up the screen. If you're Ivona, at times she'll want to educate and inspire you, and at other times she'll want to invite you to maybe coach personally with her, or join one of her programs, or join her Facebook group, for example. So I'm finding that people are quite confident on camera, but not confident to talk about what to do next on camera, or they don't really know the best words to say without sounding a bit slimy. So if you or someone you know has a business and you're trying to pivot in these times, get them to come on over into the group. After this, I'm going to be going in and just giving you the first thing to do for the day. Now, this is a signature program, and I've got a very tried and tested formula with how I do this, one that has definitely been taken up by the world. I sometimes see people that emulate this. The thing is, with each and every step, it's very purposeful but very driven. So it's a free group. I'll pop the link maybe in one of the comments below, but if not, you'll see a couple of posts back that I've invited you to click on the 12 video secrets. You click on there, make sure that you've got your handout, and then go into the group. And I look forward to seeing you in there with people from all over the world. Now, why am I telling you about that? I'm telling you about that because there's a new level of visophobia, a new hurdle of visophobia that you might want to get over. And especially in these times where you think, well, what I do might be surplus to requirements, or what I do is actually really useful for people right now. What I sell is useful for people right now. And you'll want a more eloquent and articulate way of being able to sell that without being forceful or pushy, because those are the sorts of people that are attracted to the work I do. But you do want to let people know the value that you can offer, how they can get hold of the thing, and what they can do to take the work with you. So that's why it's important, that's why it matters. So how can you make a difference? Here are a couple of things that you could do today. Think about what you hold dear. Think about, now for some of you, you'll be able to say, oh, I like think about a person, think about a brand. Think about what you like about that person or brand. And if you find that too difficult and too much to get your head around, think of the opposite. Think of somebody that you don't like. Think of a brand that you cannot stand. And write down the answer to the question of why is that, or what is it about this brand that I don't like? What is it about this person that I just don't resonate with? And when you write it down, you'll start to see some traits. So depending on which way you do the exercise, you'll start to see some traits. If it's what you don't like about somebody, and you think, okay, I don't like this, this and this, but if I could turn this around and get to know them and get to like them, here's what I would like to see in them, that's where your values will start to hold dear. Now, if you want a springboard to this, here's a book which is probably mirror writing, but Strength Finders. I recommend it probably 6 times or more a year on these Monday motivations. If you have done the Strength Finder test and have your top 5 strengths, start from there. Start with the things that you are already good at, and when you go to put yourself out there, whether you're writing a book, giving a video, on a Facebook Live, hosting a webinar, writing a social media post, look at one of your top 5 strengths and start from there. That will get the engine chugging and the engine running and get you to be able to go out there. Ask yourself the question honestly with this thing, and remembering that many of the people that I work with are multi-talented, multi-skilled, so you'll have a few of them. Take one thing at a time and say, how does doing this make a difference? How does doing this make a difference? And really get it clear. It's sometimes great just to get it out of your head, and rather than thinking about it or sitting and pondering on it or meditating on it, actually get it out of your head through your arm, whichever arm you write with, it might be ambidextrous, onto some paper. Even if you're not looking at it to read it, have that sort of that cognitive connection and write it down. How does this make a difference? Why does this make a difference? What about this thing makes a difference? Write it down. And ask yourself, on the global and wider scale, how does this benefit mankind? So if you say, oh, but I sell kettles, that's great, but people need kettles, that's great. How does it make a difference to somebody? How does it benefit mankind? You might find that a kettle, when boiled and made into a cup of tea, gives somebody that comfort in a mug, especially in these times where they might be sat in self-isolation on their own, Simple benefit, but an important one, right? Ask yourself those questions, note them down, and start to incorporate them into your messages. Now, if you're going to do part of the or all of the 5 days this week with us, then as you get questions and things like that, post them in the group, and I'll be in there this week to be able to answer those as we go through the week. The thing that I will say is, when it comes to being visible, especially on video in this day and age, because now we're doing a lot more stuff online, thinking that you have to find extra time to incorporate video into your business. Sorry, somebody just walked past the window then very closely. Thinking that you have to find the time to incorporate video into your business is kind of like the professional visophobia equivalent of a limiting belief. You will always need to add something into your business that helps to get you out there. Now, in these times, it will often be video. It doesn't have to be live video. You might find a time when you're feeling it, and you will, definitely start to batch your videos, record them, and put them out there. Or you might be going through something that you find that when you write it out and you reflect on, it could be a blog, it could be a post, but that seems to have more weight. It could be that the way that you need to be visible right now is not trying to put everything out there publicly all over your social media. It could be in a trusted group, it could be shared with trusted friends or something else like that. So have a little think about what's going to make the biggest difference to you, what's going to get you out of visophobia, and what's going to help mankind. What can you do to be a force for good, to put yourself out there? And all this will stem from your motivation to motivate. Okay, so I'd really like to know how you get on with that. There's a lot of information in there. What's one thing that you're going to take from everything that I've shared today that you're going to do, straight away? What are you going to put into action? Here's the book again. Ivona's saying, great exercise. She loves that book. This is a brilliant book. So I can't wait to hear what you put out there in the world. And more importantly, I can't wait to see you putting that out there in the world. Thank you so much for joining me. Do remember to share this with a friend. Best way to share it is either to share it to your timeline or send it in a private message to somebody. You never know who might need to hear this message at this time. It sounds like a lot of businesses out there, and I did a lot of networking last week, a lot of businesses out there just need the hope that what they do is important, whether they're a bricks and mortar business or whether they're a service-based, kind of online-based business. Thank you so much for watching. I'm off to do the video in the Video Visibility Confidence on Camera group, and I look forward to seeing what you put out there in the world. Remember that Monday motivations weren't just created for Mondays, they were created for your morning, your Mondays, and mostly your week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me.